C.3 Arpeggios of major and minor triads. Now, as opposed to going through all of these arpeggios, just on the miniature keyboard that I have here, it would make better sense for me to just explain a little bit about these. This is a go-to guide for all of your fingerings for arpeggios. An arpeggio is just, it can be the, you just want to start off with the root position, arpeggios that you'll see. And an arpeggio is basically 1, 3, and 5. A triad from any key. Like say you even have like D major. It's 1, 3, 5, and 1. Basically repeating that pattern. 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. You know, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. And then what these other inversions are showing you is showing you the different inversions. You know, starting on the 3, right? Instead of starting on the root, starting on the 3rd. And then there's different fingerings for each of these inversions, as you see there. And like here, you have another inversion here, starting on the 5th. And depending on which inversion you start on, there's going to be different fingerings. On the top of all of these, those are your right hand fingerings for each of these arpeggios. And remember, putting your thumb on the top note allows you to continue the arpeggio up, right? As opposed to the fingerings that they may have there. And the numbers on the bottom of each of these are also those are for the numbers for the left hand. So make sure you practice these with the right hand alone, then the left hand alone, before bringing them together very slowly. Make sure that you keep the fingers on the tips the entire time, that you cross your thumbs under, you know, before the next finger has finished playing, you know. And of course, there's many more techniques to scales we can get into at another time in arpeggios. Except these fingerings should all be accurate, and if you just follow these fingerings, you will get an idea of playing these arpeggios. And the nice part about minor keys, if you look back to our review over scales that we had previously, you will learn that a minor scale is basically taking a major scale and then either counting up to the 6th note, making that your root, or counting down by 3, and making that your root. That will give you a relative minor, and then from that relative minor note, when you play to that 3rd note for natural minor, continue as if the rest of the notes starting from that 3rd one are still the C major scale, except starting on A and ending on A. The 3rd note, continue as if that's your new root, up to A, right? And then back down. That will give you a minor scale. Say I'll do it in F, for example. Here's F major. If I count down 3, 1, 2, 3, always diatonically, and make that your new root. And you'll see that the relative minor key of F major then is D minor. And then see here, as D is your new root, you're going to go, once you get to F, then you're going to play up to D as if the 3rd note is a root of the major scale. F, G, A, B flat, C, D. See, but ending on D. D, C, B flat, A, G, F, and then E, D. And then these arpeggios for the minor triads, that's where they're coming from. They're coming from the relative minor, or harmonic minor, you know. The 1, 3, the 5th, and the 8th. And then repeating those, and then inverting them, you know, taking that bottom note of the triad, putting that note on the top, and then there's your first inversion. And then for the next triad, you're going to be starting over on the root of the 3rd. The 3rd is the root, basically. See, like that. And then when you have this, what you're going to do again is take that first inversion, take the bottom note, put it on top while holding the other ones, and then you have your second inversion here, starting on the fifth, right? And then that's where they're getting that arpeggio. I'm doing these in A minor right here. And then when you're starting on the fifth, there's going to be different fingerings, right? And then when you take that second position, or second inversion, and then throw the note up top again, well, the bottom note up top, while holding the other ones, you'll notice it'll take you right back to your original inversion. And the nice part to note is that navigating through the minor keys via counting up 5 works the same way as the circle of fifths. See, this is now the key of 1 sharp, right? So that works the same way, counting up by the circle of fifths, counting up 5 to get to the next one, adding sharps, or starting with A, no sharps, no flats in the natural minor, right? Then if you count up 4, that should take you to the next one, yep, D minor, the natural minor scale of 1 flat, right? And see, if you count up 3 from there, the same way how you found the natural minor, that'll take you to the scale, the major scale, F major, of 1 flat. Once you understand these relationships, it will be much easier to find major scales, minor scales, and to understand them, as we talked about. And also remember that there's 3 different types of minor. I'll start on A. See how A minor, relative minor of C major. That has no sharps, no flats, just like the major scale. But remember though, there's 3 types of minor scales. Natural minor is the natural minor scale that we've been using. Harmonic minor, raising the 7th scale degree up a half step, ascending and descending. That is what you will see is the most commonly used minor scale. And then you have the melodic minor scale, taking the 6th and the 7th scale degrees of the scale and ascending, raising them up a half step, and then descending, taking them down a half step. And remember, all of these interval relationships for scales are going to be the exact same on any key. I mean, you can even take, say, a D flat major, a key of 5 flats, and here's your major. See that? Same exact major scale, counting down 3 or up 6 diatonically. And that'll give you your relative minor. And if I were to play the natural minor, it would be this. See? Same exact relationships, just different starting notes. Same exact interval relationships. And if I were to raise the 7th of B flat minor now, it would sound something like this. And if I were to raise the 6th and the 7th ascending in melodic minor, and then lower them to the natural minor, descending, to create the melodic minor scale, it would be something like this on B flat, right? See how that works? And so those relationships, explore those further, practice them. And when you're doing your arpeggios, use this for the fingerings. This is an excellent resource. You can even pause this video just so you can look at the different relationships as you're practicing them. And it's a really excellent resource. You can't go wrong with these fingerings as well. So have fun and practice these the same way as scales. 1 or 2 at a time, focusing very closely.